Alrighty, welcome everybody back to the channel. If you don't know who I am by now, my name is David. I also go by Miller Football, and today we're going to be doing a 7-round Chicago Bears mock draft here on the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator. It was one of my more popular videos last year, doing a 7-round Bears mock. I was really proud of that video, did pretty well. So I figured why not try to do it again, make it my first mock draft of the draft cycle. And I know it's April 11th, and doing your first mock draft of the draft cycle on April 11th probably isn't great process. I say better late than never, right? It's better than not doing any mock drafts at all. I'm a little bit behind schedule. It's okay. We're persevering. We're pumping this out because I was supposed to actually put out my linebacker rankings for the draft tonight, but unfortunately, I ran a little behind schedule. I'm just not going to have the editing done today. So I'm going to edit tomorrow. We're going to do a mock draft tonight. Should be able to pump this out pretty quickly, give you some ideas on some guys that I think would fit with the Bears. I've been fighting with this mock draft simulator for the past 45 minutes, trying to get this to work, primarily because they insist on taking Laiatu Latu at 2 for the Commanders. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to have the script, be some all-knowing art oracle. I'm not in the Commanders draft room, but I can almost guarantee they're going to take a quarterback, right? So, I would prefer to have this be at least somewhat realistic so we can kind of see how the board would fall and talk about some of the possibilities for the Bears here. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting out with the first overall pick, we're getting offers. Don't care. We are taking Caleb Williams first overall. Now, I know I made my my top 10 QBs in the draft video. I said Caleb Williams was my QB 1B. I don't stand by that anymore. Caleb Williams is pretty clearly my QB 1 now. I said when I made the video I was going back and forth a little bit. I was already starting to waver on Drake, and it's not even necessarily anything against Drake. It's just the more that I watch the two play, and it's not like I'm going back and second guessing myself and repeatedly watching the same film. It's watching the film from different perspectives. Watching defenders. Like when I was watching the Laiatu Latu tape, and I saw Caleb, how he handled that game where Latu was just an unblockable force. It's like, oh, okay. He's making a guy I think is a blue chip edge rusher look totally stupid. Or, you're watching some of the Taj Washington or Brendan Rice film, and it's like, oh, these guys really are not that great, and Caleb's making them look pretty good. And then you watch Drake against other defenses, and you watch Drake's receivers, specifically Tez Walker, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe Drake has some more issues than I thought. The ball placement could use a little bit of work, which is primarily just a mechanics thing. His footwork isn't great. So, in my opinion, Caleb's pretty clearly QB1. I'm sorry to all the people in my comments who are actually very in favor of me having Drake at QB1. But I'm a Caleb Williams guy now. I think he is quite easily the best prospect the Bears have ever had fall into their laps. And I do mean fall into their laps. This is probably the best situation a number 1 overall pick quarterback has ever gone into. And I'm very glad that it's happening for us. Commanders take Drake May at 2. Let's go. Realism. I hope that's what the Commanders do, because that is the right move, in my opinion. Giants take J.J. McCarthy, which is interesting. We're up here at 9, and Rome Odunze is on the board. So we are in a really interesting spot. Because I love Rome. He is my wide receiver too. I like him more than Neighbors. And I look at this in 2 ways. First of all, you can get a legit number 1 receiver to pair with an already legit number 1 receiver for the next however many years. DJ Moore and Rome Odunze would be an unbelievable quarterback, it would be an unbelievable wide receiver tandem for your quarterback, right? Because Keenan Allen's only under contract for a year as of right now. Sure, they could get an extension done there, but he's also, north of 30. So, let's see what the offers were again. Got the Rams offering $19.52 and a future second. Tampa offering $26, $57, $89, $92 in their first next year. Ooh. Because here's the thing. This is a really deep receiver class, right? Like a really, really deep receiver class. There's a lot of great receivers. You could potentially, with this type of offer, go out and pick up 2. And trading back a little bit, you're going to put yourself in position to do some different stuff. For the sake of the video, I'm going to take this Tampa offer. I'm going to take this abundance of picks, because if I come in here, I make 4 picks and leave, it's not a fun mock, right? So for the sake of content, for the sake of this video, I am going to take this trade. However, in real life, I don't know. I'd be torn. I'd be really torn because a future first round pick is a future first round pick, you know, and get all this capital this year to really set up the roster, bring in some young talent to help support Caleb. I think Rome's a blue chip prospect. I adore Rome. But in this situation, we are going to accept this trade. Watch Tampa probably take Rome. Yep. All right, so let's see what falls to us. I'm hoping one of the edge rushers slips a little bit. Ooh, Colts take Chop. That's interesting. There went Verse. So none of the edge rushers are going to slip to us, unfortunately. Vikings take Penix. Look at that. Okay, so Cleveland's going to offer us 54, 85, a future second, and a future 4. I'm not interested in those trades. So looking what's on the board. Ooh. Okay, so here's where things get interesting, right? I like A.D. Mitchell a lot. A.D. Mitchell is, as of right now, my wide receiver 4. I flip with him and BTJ a little bit from time to time. I flip with him and BTJ from time to time. I really like Adonai. He reminds me of CeeDee Lamb, right? Then you have Xavier Worthy, his teammate. And Xavier Worthy's a really interesting case study because we talk about these really fast wide receivers that don't pan out. And Xavier Worthy's already getting looked at as one of those guys, and I just don't think that's the case. I think he's a lot more polished. I think his hands are a lot better than a lot of those guys. I think he's a better route runner than a lot of those guys. And truth be told, the one thing the Bears receiver room is really lacking right now is speed. You know, we don't have a true speedster. You have Keenan Allen, who's just always open. You have DJ Moore, who's just a dominant number 1. You don't have that true speed. And I don't... This is tough. This is a really tough pick for me. Because I can either go with the guy that I think's the better player or the guy that I think's the better fit. And I don't know where I want to land. I'm going to go with A.D. Mitchell. I'm going to take the guy that I just think is better. Because, you know, it's like I was saying earlier, you only have one more year guaranteed of Keenan. And I don't want to, you know, base building my receiver room around Keenan being there, right? Now, I think you can absolutely have a world where Mitchell and Allen and Moore coexist. So I think that's definitely the pick up there. Bengals trading up for Byron Murphy. There go the Patriots getting Xavier Worthy. Cooper DeJean falls to the second round. That's kind of crazy. Jackson Powers Johnson fell to the second round too. I should have considered trading up for him. All right, so we're picking at 57 here. I'm really hopeful. I have my eyes on somebody, and I really hope he falls to me. They're one an edge rusher, which makes me a little scared. They're on another one. Perfect. Let's see here. No. I know exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to take one of my favorite players in this entire draft class. And I'm going to need y'all to hear me out for a second here. Because I like this guy a lot more than the consensus, and I'm fully aware of that. But I think he's going to be, or has the potential to be, a legitimate superstar in this league. We're talking about a guy who ran a 4.7 940 as an edge rusher. Great eye discipline, super hot motor, quick feet, slippery, great length, a noticeably deep bag, really good speed to power, good overall athlete, really physical run defender, good anchor, good bend, really refined, even though he's not the most experienced guy in the world. You probably want to see him add a little bit more weight. He's not somebody you're going to be dropping into coverage, but the Bears run a 4.3, so you don't need to worry about that anyways. And he needs to work on when to deploy his deep bag of pass rush moves. But this guy is one of my favorite edge rushers in this class. I cannot wait to make a video talking about him for my, what's it called? When I make my top 10 edges video, because he is just outside of the first round for me. I have a late first, early second round grade on him. And it's Austin Booker out of Kansas. Truthfully speaking, right? You get Caleb Williams, you get A.D. Mitchell, you get Austin Booker as your first 3 picks. In my opinion, I'd build the statue for Poles myself, dude. That would be so freaking huge. And now we've got some more picks coming up at 75 here. Let's see what we're working with. Cedric Gray to Washington's pretty cool. Probably going to focus on the offensive line here, unless I get a trade I really like. So, ooh, Minnesota offering us a third. No, let's take a look at what we got here. So, my LB1's still on the board. Not that we need linebackers. Little spoiler for tomorrow's video. Junior Colson, absolutely love it. We could look at receiver here again, just because you can never be too loaded at receiver, right? Never hurts to load up. Look at offensive line here. Kind of look at the centers, maybe. I don't love Cedric Van Plant. Maybe not. Running back, we don't need him. Tackle, I like Blake Fisher, but we don't. He's a right tackle. You know, we're good at right tackle. Darnell Wright. Defensive line, maybe. I think I'm going to double up on receiver here. And I think the route I want to go here is... Let me double check my notes here, because I'm trying to figure out which guy I would want to see fit in this offense, right? Because now I can actually start to think about a future projection with wide receivers. You know, this isn't a situation where I'm necessarily worried about, you know, oh, well, you know, Keenan Allen's going to be gone after a year, so I don't have to worry about the projection. Now I do, because you've got A.D. Mitchell and you've got DJ Moore in this situation. I think there's a really nice slot option here. Guy that's just a really good route runner, really smart, really good hands. Reminds me a lot, ironically, of Adam Thielen. Maybe the Vikings were trying to trade up for him, and that is Ricky Pearsall out of Florida. So now you've got this crazy wide receiver room all of a sudden around Caleb Williams, and you've got another edge rusher opposite Montez Sweat. So I really like where we're at here, going into pick 89, getting offered 98 and a fourth next year. Let's see what the board looks like. Ooh, my. Okay, let me pull out my offensive notes here, because I gotta make sure I don't miss anything with this guy. This would be a huge get for us. Hold on. So one of my issues with the Bears right now is a lack of depth on the interior offensive line. We have who is it? We went out and got Ryan Bates. But I see a world where Mason McCormick out of South Dakota State becomes an absolute superstar. And the reason I bring this up is because you have Nate Davis. He hasn't had the greatest bill of health. You have Tevin Jenkins. He hasn't had the greatest bill of health. And Nate Davis isn't even a long-term guy. Tevin Jenkins' contract's going to be up next year. Wouldn't hurt to get a guy that could take one of their spots. And with him sitting here... Oh, no, we have pick 92. I think he'll be there at 92. So actually, I'm okay with waiting there. Hold on now. I'm okay with waiting there. Safety. I haven't watched any of the safeties really yet, so I can't, you know, jump the gun on any of them. D-tackle. I don't know. Don't know. Let's think here. I could go Brandon Coleman. You know, he's a little bit rated higher for them. Not even. Hell, they do not like Brandon Coleman. That's surprising. I'm going to try not to edit this video. I know maybe the pauses and the little bouts of silence are a little annoying, but I think it's better to get my raw idea, right? So let's see here. Michael Hall. What do I have written down for Michael Hall? Just looking at their top D tackles. He's only 20, so he's on the younger side of things. Let's see here. He can kind of bounce around. 6'3", 290, coming out as a redshirt sophomore. Yeah, but he's a little undersized. What about Mason Smith? Again, I'm not super well versed on the DTs. I've only watched a couple. Hall and Smith being the last two I've watched here. So, worst case, we might have to use their little tool that shows off the what's it called? 6'5", 306 for Smith, coming out as a redshirt sophomore. 4'6". Oh no, that's his 20-yard shuttle. I was gonna say, Jesus, he almost ran a 5 flat. Yeah, I don't hate adding more D-line depth, and I liked Smith more here. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, he's a massive dude. Little experience could secure him a top 10 selection. That's a crazy take. But we are going to take Mason Smith here. I like taking Mason Smith. And then here, we'll go ahead and take Mason McCormick, who just has that nasty streak to him. Really athletic guard. Reminds me a lot of Chris Lindstrom in a lot of ways. I think he could really, really be a good offensive lineman. Great run blocker. He's got the experience. Yeah, South Dakota State, maybe you can make a comment about the comp he went against or whatever. I don't care. I don't care about his level of competition. He was damn good against the competition he had, right? So we'll see if that can't translate. Now we sit here until pick 122. See what we can get hold of here. I kind of want to go either a DB, or I wouldn't mind adding another edge just to have more of a rotation. Because right now you're working with, it would be Booker, it would be Sweat, and it would be, oh my God, big fella. We brought him over from the Titans last year. This is going to kill me. Why can I not think of his name? Walker, DeMarcus Walker. Goodness gracious. So let's take a look at the edge rushers left on the board here. Jonah Ellis fell this far? Dude, hold on. Jonah Ellis? Are you shitting me? Yeah, dude. One of the more athletic defensive linemen in this class. 6'2", 248. So a little bit undersized for, maybe a 4'3". But actually, I don't know. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if he's a 4'3" fit. That's kind of my hang up here. Curious who else they have listed here. I gotta watch the Murphy twins. I've heard some fun things about them. I have not watched them yet. Not gonna add a linebacker, although James Williams is a fun projection at linebacker. With just another offensive weapon. We could. There's a lot of running backs on the board. We don't need a running back, though. This is the only thing. Center. Who's my favorite center left? Wish I had my draft board pulled up. I have my draft notes. I don't have my draft board. Let's pull out my draft board real quick. Just see which one of these centers I like the most. And we'll take one of them. Just to add some center depth. Out of the guys left, I like Norzad the most. Yeah. Yeah, I like Norzad. What do they have for his little notes? Coming soon. Okay. No, I like Norzad. He's a pretty solidly athletic center. And I mean, worst case, it's a 4th round pick. It's the last pick you have. Just trying to make sure you get something here. So we'll go ahead. I'll let this run through, and then when I get done, we'll take a look at what we came away with here. This is a little bit of a shorter mock draft, but I think we came away with some interesting picks for sure. All right, so there you have it, folks. That's what we walk away with in this first inaugural mock draft here on April 11th. I think this is a pretty good pool. Obviously, you get your franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. You get him a really solid wide receiver 2 of the future in Adonai Mitchell, who will eventually take over Keenan Allen's spot as your wide receiver 2. You bring in Austin Booker, who's a super tradesy edge rusher. I think can be a legit force in this league with a little bit of development. I trust Eberflus to build up defensive linemen for sure. I think that's one of his strengths as a coach. So I think Booker's in good hands in Chicago. You bring in Pearsall, who is just a super smart kind of crafty, savvy slot receiver that will eventually straight up take over for Keenan Allen, be your third receiver. You bring in Mason Smith as a bit of a project on the defensive line, but again, I trust Flus with those type of guys. Eventually, the ideal world would be you have Gervon Dexter and Mason Smith as your two DTs, which would be absolutely absurd if Smith can pan out with that massive 6'5", 309-pound build of his. You bring in Mason McCormick to be probably a swing guard for now, but insurance for Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins. And then you bring in Hunter Norzad, who is just a really solid center. And if things don't work out with Coleman Shelton, who only got a 1-year deal, then you have someone cooking in the background. You also get that first-round pick from Tampa Bay. I don't know how high that would be. I think Tampa Bay is going to be pretty okay next year. But an additional first-round pick is an additional first-round pick, so you definitely can't go wrong there. But let me know what you all think in the comments down below. I know this wasn't a super fun mock because the Bears don't have a bunch going on right now in terms of picks. We only have 4 picks, which is why I had to throw Rome Odunze for content. But I think this is a damn solid return for, what we gave, what we gave up in terms of not being able to take Rome. I think I would be more than okay with this as a Bears fan. It would sting a little bit, but Adonai and Austin Booker alone would make it up for me, man. I'm not going to lie. I love Austin Booker so much. I really want him to be a Bear. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would be so unbelievably happy if he was. If you remember last year, the guy that I was really pounding the table for Chicago was Darnell Wright. I think Austin Booker is my Darnell Wright this year. Not nearly as polished of a product, but nonetheless, still probably my biggest my guy this year. But all that being said, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you think I should have just taken Rome Odunze and made this like a 5-minute mock draft, let me know. Maybe you're right. Maybe that would have been the best case scenario. But every once in a while, as a content creator, you got to throw for content. You got to do it for the vine, as they used to say. God, I feel old. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below about this mock. Let me know if you're excited for the draft. Let me know if there's somebody specific you'd like to see me collaborate with on a mock. I definitely plan on doing that here sometime in the next couple weeks. I want to do 1 or 2 of those at the very least. Had a lot of fun doing collaboration mock drafts last year. And also just let me know in general what your thoughts are for the Bears going into the draft. Are you excited? Are you a little bit scared? Are you ready for Caleb Williams to come in and save us? Let me know all that down in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with y'all. And to everyone out there watching, anyone who made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Please leave a like down below if you're still here, as I would appreciate that even more. And also make sure to subscribe for more draft content coming your way over the next couple weeks into the summer. Going to be talking about the draft all throughout the summer, obviously. And to anyone out there watching, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it because you're all wonderful people and you truly do deserve it.
Had a chance on the throwback.
This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder. Wow.
Using that